What were your initial impressions of Vince when you first met Vince?
Gosh, you know, he has such a presence. Everyone says that about him. He has such a presence, and, you know, I just knew that, I mean, he's a genius. He really is a genius, and he can change people's life, you know, with the snap of a finger if he really wants to. And, you know, it was just a little intimidating to meet with him, but also I was very excited. I was really excited to kind of explore that chapter, and, you know, I knew that he is so great about making everyone on his roster a star, so I was really excited, you know, at the chance, and I figured he probably wouldn't be taking me on if he didn't think he could make me a star.
Did they tell you their plans for you guys right away, or was it pretty much, you know, just trust us and we know what we're going to do with you?
He basically, I mean, it was kind of like just trust us, but they did tell us that they were planning on, you know, this invasion angle, and, you know, that it was pretty vague, but I knew that Stacy and I were going to be working together.
Okay. I guess, how different was the dynamic in the WWE locker room compared to WCW's locker room?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think the difference is that in WCW, like, there really was, like, really, I guess maybe no one to answer to. So people, you know, if you're not a good person and you're just an asshole, like, you can just be an asshole. No one's going to, like, reprimand you.
Right.
And at least, you know, with Vince's company, like, assholes get it taken care of eventually. You know,
right.
Like, you might be able to pull your crap for a little while, but it's not going to last very long.
Did you see a lot of the politics in WCW, like with Kevin and Scott Hall? And
I didn't really, no, I mean, because of, you know, dating a wrestler, I kind of heard stuff that was going on. So I'd hear these stories of people being like, well, you know, the infamous one that I remember is Buff Bagwell saying, well, I honestly would not mind losing the match, but my character, you know, shouldn't lose the match.
Right.
And I started thinking, oh, God, give me a break. Like, somebody's got to lose.
Getting back to the locker room, did any of the girls in WWE's locker room take a liking to you right when you first came in, or?
Well, Trish, I had known Trish way before either one of us got into wrestling. We did a lot of fitness modeling together. She, when I was in WCW and she was still doing the fitness modeling thing, we had a shoot together, and I remember her telling me, oh my gosh, I just want to be in wrestling so bad. I was like, you do? I had no idea. And so I actually really fought for her to get hired at WCW. And so, you know, we had a friendship, and of course, at that time she was in WWE, so, you know, her and I already had a relationship. But, you know, Lita was very, you know, standoffish. You know, you kind of had to, eventually she warmed up, but, you know, she had to prove herself to her.
Right.
And, you know, same with Terry Reynolds. Like, a lot of the girls, you know, really, I guess, from their point of view, they're like, you know, we've seen girls come and go for so long that we just don't, you know, you got to prove yourself. So I just, you know, respected them and gave them their distance. And
Getting back with Trish, talk about, I guess, your past relationship with her as far as, like, doing the fitness shows and stuff.
I never competed with Trish. I don't think she ever competed, but we did a lot of some fitness modeling together. She was always the girl that, like, she was so good at being sexy. And, you know, it's funny because in WWE, even though she's, like, so hot and sexy, she was, like, the more athletic one, and, you know, not the whole sex pot thing. But, you know, I just remember, you know, watching her posing for the camera going, gosh, she's so good and she's so beautiful and all this. And I really respected her for, you know, what she had done in the modeling world. But, you know, I just thought it was so funny because I had no idea that she was such a huge wrestling fan, and she was, you know, just trying so hard to get anywhere in wrestling.
I guess let's talk about some of the skits you did with Vince. What was it like doing the skits with Vince? Were you ever, like, really intimidated that you were going to mess up your lines or anything like that?
Oh my gosh, I was so intimidated. My first day at work at the WWE, I had to do like 5 or 6 skits with Vince, and at the last one I had to kiss him. And of course I had to kiss the new girl. He likes to kiss the new girls.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I was so intimidated. He's such a pro at what he does, and, you know, he does a lot of ad-libbing, and it was really nerve-wracking.
Was he personable with you, or was he all business?
Oh no, he's very personable. Very personable.
Okay. I guess, was it odd to see so many WCW talents in WWE when you got there?
It wasn't odd, and it was awesome because it was kind of like, you know, when WCW came into WWE, I would feel this way if I was working for WWE. It's like all these people, there's not enough TV spots for all those people. So, I mean, some people are going to be losing their spots, and, you could see that they were kind of hesitant. A lot of people already knew each other, but, it was nice to have kind of like my family that I knew.
I was going to ask you, was there a rift between ex-WCW talent and WWE talent? Did you feel tension at times?
I didn't really feel tension. I know, Stacy, God bless her, she didn't really know the whole shaking the hand thing and all that, and so she had a lot of heat in the beginning because she wasn't, going up and shaking everyone's hand and,
right.
doing the whole political thing. But, for the most part, I didn't really see tension. Nobody was fighting.
How well did you get along with Stacy Keibler?
She's one of my very best friends. We're a lot alike, and we still talk all the time.
Are you surprised she really made a career for herself outside of the business?
I'm not surprised at all. I really saw that she had potential to do other things. I mean, she has modeled and acted and done a lot of other stuff since she was 5 years old. She's an amazing dancer, as we all saw in Dancing with the Stars.
Right.
But I think she is destined for even greater things. I think she's going to be a big star.
Memories of managing Tajiri. Who was hilarious, by the way.
He was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
I traveled with him for 2 years in ECW. We went up and down.
Really?
Yeah, he lived with us basically. So.
Oh, he's so funny.
Big pervert, right?
He is a pervert.
I know.
I didn't realize that till later.
Yeah.
But he is a pervert. And I for a while there, I bought the whole I don't speak English thing too.
Right. He works everybody with that too.
But eventually, he was great. I love working. The only problem I guess that I ever had with him or any guy that I managed was sometimes it's hard to remember to include the girl in the match or whatever.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's sad to say, like, they could be having an amazing match, and if you have a girl on the side, sometimes she's taking a lot of attention away from the matches. So
right.
So, I found sometimes that people would, not include me in the match because they're trying to keep it focused on them, but it's, really kind of shooting themselves in the foot.
Right. Did you ever go to management over any of that? Where you felt
never,
that? Okay,
never.
Just pretty much. Okay. In WWE, whose idea was the whole Dawn Marie angle? And were you for or against it?
It was all Paul Heyman.
Right.
He called me. I was on vacation, oddly enough, in Idaho, and oddly enough, I very rarely see my father. I was at his house when he called me and told me about his idea, and I was on the phone with him for probably an hour and a half. And it sounded like a really cool storyline. And then he said, we can bring your dad in if you want, or we can hire an actor. And I was like, oh, no way. My dad used to act when he was young. And so my dad was really excited. But, it's like, that was probably one of the most fun times that I had in WWE, because I knew that I was in a storyline that every week I was going to be working.
Right, so you knew you had your spot secure. What are your thoughts on Dawn?
Dawn's awesome. I mean, Dawn and I have to admit, when we were working together, we definitely had our fights.
Right, why is that?
She's kind of like a sister to me. She was just, I guess when you're in such a big angle with someone, and we were just supposed to hate each other so much, sometimes the lines got crossed, and you really do get angry with that person. And we wrestled each other all the time. We wrestled each other on the house shows, and we were both definitely not experts on wrestling, but we were both definitely trying to improve. And so you tend to start blaming each other for things that go wrong, and we definitely had our problems, but we always worked through it.
I guess that feud lasted what, like 9 months maybe?
Probably about 9 months, yeah.
Did your dad ever start to get phone calls or anything, I guess, from your family who weren't smart to the business? Did anybody ever bother your family?
Yes. He did get phone calls. He had people calling him at home sometimes. My brother, I have 3 brothers, and they were like horrified when they saw him getting married in his underwear in the ring and
Right.
stuffed one way and
So that was your real dad who was on?
It was my real
Wow.
dad. And my brothers were like, oh my gosh, what are you doing to Dad? Seriously. But
Did he enjoy it?
still gets recognized.
That's great. I was going to ask you, was he a wrestling fan at all?
No,
No,
he had no clue he barely knew who Vince was.
Right, so he just went to TVs and did his part. And, wow, it's a good payday.
Yeah.
Were a lot of the other girls jealous of your TV time?
I don't know, probably. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I really never felt jealousy from the other girls. You know, sometimes you can feel animosity, like, especially if girls are sitting there and they're not on TV whatsoever. They have nothing going on. You can feel animosity towards anyone that's going to be on TV. You know, I felt a little bit of pressure and heat when I did Playboy.
Right.
You know, because I'm sure there were girls that thought that they were the ones that should have been in Playboy, which, you know, I got lucky. But I'm not going to turn them down so that you can do it.
We can talk about Playboy now. I was going to ask you about that anyway, I guess. How were you approached by Playboy? How did that come about?
They, actually, Playboy approached WWE, and Jim Ross pulled me aside at a Raw one day and kind of just sprung it on me, and I was just shocked. I couldn't believe, you know, that they wanted, you know, to work with me, and I was really excited, and, you know, it took me all of like 2 seconds to give him an answer.
Right.
And, you know, the rest is history. I had an awesome time with them.
Did you have to ask your family at all, or did you feel them out, or was it pretty much all your decision?
I didn't ask anybody.
Right, you're like, I'm doing it.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. My mom wasn't happy with it, but too bad.
Were you happy with the way it turned out?
I was really happy. I mean, I really, like, I don't know, I think a lot of girls are like this, but like most of the pictures I look at of myself, I'm not like, oh, that's a great picture. Like, you always see things like, oh my gosh, I could have done this, but, you know, nothing's ever perfect. But for the most part, I was really happy with just the way the whole experience was with Playboy.
Okay. I was going to ask you, how did that change your life?
It didn't really change my life.
Did it open up any other doors for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I did for a while there. You know, I had an apartment with Stacy in LA around the time that I got that, the Playboy thing. And, you know, I was going to a lot of really cool premieres and all that kind of stuff, and had a lot of great meetings with, you know, producers and stuff. But nothing ever really went anywhere because my life was wrestling.
Right.
And it's so difficult to pursue anything outside of that when you're on the road so much. So, I mean, I kind of just decided at one point that it was kind of a waste of time for me to be trying to pursue that.
How do you keep yourself so level-headed when, you know, here you are, you're on TV, and you have notoriety everywhere you go, and everyone knows who you are?
Sorry.
That's
Chloe,
okay.
come here.
You can put on the camera if you want.
Chloe, you want to say hi? Hi. Ruff, ruff.
That's awesome.
I have never, ever understood how people can get big heads and think that their shit does not stink. I just don't understand it. I have been lucky enough to have been in the right place at the right time on many occasions. I'm not someone that's going to sit here and say that I am better than anyone by any means, because there's a million girls that are way hotter than I am that could have done just the same thing. I think a lot of my success has been the fact that I am a nice person and I won't screw anyone over, and I can get along with everybody. But I just don't get, I could see girls coming into WWE sometimes, and I could just tell from the first few minutes of meeting them that they are going to be a terror once they're on TV for a few months, and I was always right.
Right. Anybody in particular you want to mention, or?
No.
Next question, Sable. Your feud with Sable. Did you get along with Sable? Because a lot of the girls that we've interviewed that, you know, worked with her, like Tammy, they all have horror stories of working with her.
Well, when I first started working with Sable, she was really, really nice. We got along great. We did, then we did the Playboy shoot together. Everything was great at the Playboy shoot. We had so much fun. We were giggling all the time and all of that. And then when the Playboy magazine came out, things started to change. For some reason, all of a sudden, she did not like me anymore. I never did anything to her. I tried to respect her. I think at one point she had it in her head that I was trying to steal the spotlight from her.
I was going to ask you if you felt that she was jealous.
I don't know if it was jealousy. I don't know. I would hate to say that. She's one of the most beautiful women on the planet, and she had nothing to be jealous of. But, it's just unfortunate that she was so angry with me. And, I think we had we had a huge blowout fight. I mean, I just do not fight with people.
Right.
We had a huge blowout fight at a show, and all the wrestlers, I guess, were, listening. We were in the office with Jim Ross and Johnny Ace, and she was screaming at me, telling me that I was trying to take her spot, and reminding me how much better her Playboy sold than mine. And I'm like, you could sell 10 million more Playboys. I really don't care. That doesn't make you a better person.
Right.
So, I mean, whatever.
How did you guys rectify the situation?
It was never really rectified after that. I mean, I was really upset. I was horrified because I'll be the first one to gladly give you the step. I mean, I'm not going to try to take anyone's spotlight.
Right.
And it just hurt me that someone would actually think that I was that kind of person. We got to the point where we could be cordial and in the same room, but she didn't like me.
Did you still have to work with her after that point, or?
Yeah, we still worked together a little bit.
Professional? Was she professional with you in the ring, or?
Yeah, I mean, I never really she didn't really ever wrestle, so I didn't really have to worry about anything like that. But
I guess, did you have any problems with any of the kissing stuff that you did on TV?
I just never like kissing someone that's not my boyfriend. I'm not, it's like the thing with Dawn was really hard.
Right.
It was, I just, in a way, I'm like kind of prude, I guess.
Right.
And so in the wrestling industry, I've kissed so many guys. I've probably had more boyfriends on the show than anyone ever. And, kissing anybody that's not my boyfriend is hard. Kissing Carlito was really hard because he's a really good friend of mine. And he was like, like pulling my head in, and I was like pulling it back. It was so hard to like just relax.
Memories of working with Nydia?
Nydia's awesome. She is such a free spirit, just a good, genuine, sweet person, and so giving. Like, there's girls out there that, will do whatever they can to make you look shitty in the ring, and I've never understood it, because what they don't understand is it makes them look bad too. And Nydia is one of those people that would, she would go up. Stewie!
You could.
Keep going.
Oh my gosh, nice hair. Come here, Stewie. Jeez.
It's okay. That's a good blooper. We'll keep it in, don't worry.
But Nydia was one of those people, like, she would think of cool moves for me to do during the week and be like, I have this awesome move for you to do this week. I mean, who does that?
Right. So she was pretty giving.
She was awesome.
What about Jamie Noble? What was he like to work with?
Oh, gosh. He was cool, I mean, he's definitely all about the wrestling. He always had good ideas. I don't really have anything good or bad to say, other than, it was fine.
Cool. Did WWE ever propose a storyline that you said no to for whatever reason? Did they ever come up with something that you said, I don't want to do that?
Did they? There might not, nothing that I can really remember. I just remember there's been things that they wanted me to, like, push the envelope a little more sexuality-wise.
Right.
And, I already look back at some of the stuff I've done, and I'm, like, mortified, that I was in a thong bikini in front of all those kids. I can't really think of any storylines, though, that... Not really.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle's awesome. I mean, legend.
Right.
And I wish him all the best. His wife is really sweet. Come here. Get kicked out of the hotel.
No.
I really hope that it's okay for him to still be wrestling, as hurt as his neck is. I worry about him because he is a good person, and he deserves the best. And it's, I don't know. I don't know how his wife lets him wrestle, because I shudder when I see him take a bump.
Right. So you were friendly with Karen, obviously. What do you think about her on-air role in the business now?
I think it's awesome. I think it's really weird that she got into the business too.
Right. She never expressed interest when she was in WWE, obviously.
No,
right?
I don't ever remember her saying. I mean, I didn't know her that well, but I mean, who wouldn't take the opportunity to be able to go work with their husband?
Right.
But I mean, she looks adorable, and she seems to have gotten over pretty well with the fans. So,
Yeah. Thoughts on The Rock?
Ugh, gosh, no one compares to The Rock. I mean, really. He is just, and I mean, as many great, awesome wrestlers as there are, like, he is in a class of his own. You just, when he was there for the Hall of Fame ceremony this past year, I just remember watching him on stage going, that is why he's making $15 or $20 million a picture. Like, the guy just has so much charisma oozing from him.
Did you sense a lot of the heat from because he gave a speech, and some of the guys, I guess, felt that he was trying to big league some of the other guys in the company. Did you feel that at all, or did you sense that?
No.
No, okay. He was just being himself.
I didn't think he was. Oh, did he make some comment? What did he say?
Well, he said something about Jericho looking like, I guess, the new kid on the block.
Yeah, but they're friends.
Right.
So I don't think he was trying to.
Right. I forgot his speech, but he got a lot of heat on the internet, but you never know what to believe on the internet. So, what about Taker? What was he like?
Taker, gosh, I've always been scared of Taker. Just his presence and everything about him now I'm not scared of him.
Right.
But his presence, his ex-wife Sarah hated me. I don't know why she hated me. Stone Cold Steve Austin's last wife, Deborah.
Right.
She, for some reason, thought that I was obsessed with Stone Cold at one point, even though I had maybe said 2 words to him ever.
Huh.
And Sarah and Deborah were, really close friends, so I guess maybe Sarah was on her side or something, and
right.
So she really hated me. And, of course, being married to Undertaker, like, what was I going to do? I can't stand up for myself. I can't really call her out on anything, so I just had to keep my mouth shut. And, the girl wanted to fight me at one point, and
wow.
I just had to kind of, like, say sorry and,
right. Wow.
move on. But, I've spoken to Undertaker more lately because Michelle is a really good friend of mine, and he's just such a great guy.
Would you consider him a locker room leader? Because everyone says he's pretty much the guy in command.
If he's not, I don't know what's going to happen when he's not around, because he really is. I can honestly say I feel like he's the only one that every single person respects.
Right. Memories of managing Billy Gunn.
I love Billy Gunn. He was so much fun, and it was fun because he always, made it a point to include me in things. I loved the, Mr. and Mrs. Ass thing.
Right.
And it was really my idea to work with him. Vince had come to me and said, if there's anyone you want to work with, let me know. He said, he told me, give me a list of people you don't want to work with.
Right.
And give me a list of people you do want to work with. And I was like, okay, seriously, is this a trick? Because I'm sure if I gave him the list of don'ts, I'd be working with that top one.
Was there anybody that you didn't want to work with?
No, I mean, I got, of course there's people I probably would be like, ugh, I hope I don't have to kiss him or something like that.
Right.
But Billy Gunn was who I wanted to work with. I wanted to be Mrs. Ass.
What about your feud with Shaniqua? What are your memories of that?
Oh, gosh. I don't really remember wrestling her. I know a lot of people were annoyed by her because they thought she had an ego very quickly, but I never really noticed that, or, she was always cool to me. I think she could have gone really far if she would have, I guess, played by the right rules.
I hear you. Memories of teaming up with Sable against Jackie and Stacy.
Oh, gosh. That was a fun match. WrestleMania. It was a really fun match. And I think, gosh, what can I say about that? I don't know. It was just one of those WrestleMania,
Did you feel a lot more pressure doing the pay-per-views other than doing house shows and TVs?
Not more pressure. I guess it was always disappointing for me. I was always disappointed because, I really did try so hard to improve in the ring, and I felt like I was always thrown curveballs. Like I was always, you really can't prove that you can wrestle when you're thrown in a freaking pudding match every week and you're told you're in an evening gown. Okay, I'm grateful to be on WrestleMania, but when you're in an evening gown match, like, how seriously are we going to be taken? So we'd always be, Fit Finley was so great working with us because, we'd always be like, Fit, seriously, I want people to, like, remember me doing something cool. Like, can I do a crossbody or something? Like, I mean, it's pathetic that we have so many things thrown against us, working against us, and, not only we're working bare feet, no pads, we're ripping each other's clothes off. Oh, and by the way, your dress has to be able to rip easily. So I mean, it's like
Right.
one thing after another. I mean, it's great to have that match and all, but it would have been cool to actually have like a real match.
Was Fit pretty much your agent for a lot of the matches?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he always went to bat for us.
I was going to ask you that. That was my next question. Memories of your feud with Hiroko. Hiroko?
Hiroko.
Hiroko, yes.
Hiroko is one of the sweetest people you will ever meet. She is, she is the typical sweet Japanese woman that will, be by her man's side no matter what. And I really took her under my wing when she came to WWE. Some of the other girls weren't very nice to her.
Right.
I don't know why. There was some animosity towards her, and I just felt like I had to, watch over her. She's such a sweet girl. I mean, she didn't know much about wrestling, but she sure did want to do anything. And I actually ran into her when I was in Japan not too long ago. I was at a sumo match, and she was out front, and I bumped into her.
Oh, wow. Small world.
What are the chances?
That's weird. Did you guys have a lot of respect, like a lot of the girls in the locker room, for some of the girls that came from Tough Enough? Or did you pretty much say, those girls are never, like, Gail Kim and some of the other girls?
Well, I pretty much, I really don't like to judge anybody until I, see what they have to offer. And sadly, for me, someone could be the best wrestler in the world, but if she's a bitch, she has no respect for me whatsoever.
Right.
And, there are a few girls that are still on the roster that are great wrestlers that I have zero respect for. And not only because of them being nasty, but, when people have not very good morals, it's hard for me to respect anything about them.
Any names?
But
All right. Were you for or against the move to Raw?
I was definitely for the move to Raw. I was really, really excited to work towards winning the women's championship. A lot of the wrestlers were on Raw, and I really wanted to win the belt. I had talked to Vince and gave him this great storyline idea I had to win the belt. He was all for it.
Right.
Never really happened, and I got a little bitter afterwards about it. But Raw was kind of where it was at for the women.
Memories of feud with Ashley.
Gosh, that was when she really didn't know what she was doing, I think.
Right.
It was a little difficult, and I think that at that point I was able to see how frustrating it would be for someone working with me when I didn't know what I was doing. Lita and Trish, when Stacy and I came in, we weren't helping them out much at all,
right.
Dead weighting them and stuff. But, Ashley's a sweet girl, and she really did try, but it was very difficult, and she was, real small, so you had to be careful with her.
We kind of touched on this a little bit ago. I was going to ask, as far as tension between the girls with the wrestling backgrounds and the new divas, and you pretty much said that there was some tension, but personally you didn't really judge.
I don't really judge. I just feel like I'm not saying. I don't think that everyone has to go around and do the political thing. No girl should have to come in the locker room and be like, "Oh, I love all your work" and all that stuff. But come in and say hello.
Right.
Don't come in and act like you own the joint. And some of the girls that were on the Diva Search did that, and it was really annoying. To think that they ran the joint after
right.
just being on whatever show they were on, the Diva Search. But they weeded those ones out pretty quick.
Memories of teaming up with Victoria. Did you like teaming with her?
Oh my gosh, I had a blast. She's my favorite to work with. I love having matches against her. I've had my best matches against her. She is, most people probably don't realize, one of the funniest people. She is so funny, and it's really hard sometimes to get in the ring with her and not laugh.
Right.
Because she has her little inside, jokes. But, yeah, she was awesome.
You also teamed with her, I guess, against Trish and Ashley. Some of your memories of those matches?
Oh, yeah. Gosh. Nothing really interesting to say, yeah.
You left for a while for some personal reasons, and it was rumored that you were fired. What happened there?
Well, we were overseas in Australia, and my husband at the time was going through a lot of problems. He told me when Sorry,
That's okay.
got distracted. When I landed in LA, we were supposed to stay in LA for, like 3 more days. We had a pay-per-view and some tapings.
Right.
And he had called me and told me that he, had some personal problems that I really don't feel like liberty to be telling anybody. But, he was going through some really hard times and really needed me home.
Right.
And so I could not get a hold of anybody. I couldn't reach Johnny. I couldn't reach anybody. And, this is one of those things where my family definitely is more important than my job. And if getting fired means getting, if they're going to fire me for a family emergency, if someone that's going through a life-altering, thing,
right.
I need to be there. So I couldn't get a hold of anybody, and I just flew myself home. And when I was home, I finally talked to Johnny, and he was, they were not very happy that I just left, of course. There was a pay-per-view that I was on, and, another TV show they had me scheduled for. And I thought everything was okay, and then a couple days later, we were in the hospital, and I get this phone call from my lawyer saying that he thought I was going to be fired, and that he was told that they were discussing firing me. And when I heard that news, as much as I loved working for WWE, when I heard that news, I was so disappointed, number one. And number two, it was almost like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I was kind of like, if these people really are going to fire me over this, then I really don't want anything to do with them. And I think that they realized very quickly. I think they took my page off of WWE.com and all that stuff. And then I think they realized what assholes they would look like if they were doing that for this. I mean, for anyone to have to, for someone that's saying they're such a big family-oriented company, you got to practice what you preach. And so, thankfully, I wasn't fired.
Right.
And I asked about it later, and they're like, "No, we were going to fire you." I'm like, "Yeah, right."